Hey, doll.
Hey, bud. How we doing? Oh, don't worry. It's getting there. I can tell, right? Just your reaction on that. I can tell it's starting to, the walls are crumbling.
No.
The ocean tide is coming in. The sandcastle is crumbling down. And you are slowly but surely accepting of your new nickname.
No.
I mean, we can't talk about this every single time we start a show, but
No.
you're just going to have to take it in.
No. I refuse to accept that as part of my 2025 journey.
Well, I'm giving it to you as part of our 2025 journey. So I love you, bud. Hello, Do We Have To crew? We got an exciting show for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Do We Have To, a marriage podcast. Absolutely. I am Sean.
I'm Emily.
Emily motherfucking Miller, the matriarch of the Miller family, the prognosticator of prognosticators, the Sultan of SWAT. Yeah.
How many times are you going to do this just to make up for the one time you used patriarch?
I'm going to do it every single time. Oh, I mean, I don't feel bad about that. You're recording a show. You're saying things. You have limited funds to edit anything. So when you make mistakes, you make mistakes. You just fucking own it.
To edit things.
We got a couple bucks. We got like at least $10, $15 towards production value. So, but that does not include making mistakes like saying patriarchy instead of matriarch.
Yeah.
But when I introduce you, I mean what I say and I say what I mean.
Okay.
Okay.
Our executive producer is Mr. Colin Maskell.
Colin Schmedium Maskell, the motherfucking Don, the man, the reason why we are here recording recording on YouTube. See, fucked up there. Doesn't matter, right? Yeah. Recording on YouTube. Again, guys, we have a wonderful show today to our Do We Have To crew. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in. Couple segments today. We're going to be talking about, of course, we're going to be doing our Do We Have to Talk About It, obviously. So we still have folks writing into the show wanting to get our opinions, our takes, our feedback in regards to their questions on life and all the other things that go with it. We're also going to talk about Emily. I think Emily's on the mend enough. We thought it would be important to kind of, because we've discussed it a little bit on the exterior, but we thought we would kind of go into what she has been through. We kind of feel like it'd be helpful because I know there's a lot, well, every woman is going to experience this at some point, but
I think every couple experiences it at some level. And
every couple is going to experience major surgeries, health scares, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So we'll dive into that as well today, and that'll round out our show. Just want to say too, just make sure, appreciate all the feedback. We've gotten a ton of comment. We kind of broke a record for comments this past week in regards to our YouTube videos. I try my best to respond back to them. A lot of them were just positive affirmations. Some folks not positive affirmations, but I try to make sure equally, even if you're saying something horrifically mean or uneducated, I try to make sure and get back to you. So I'll make sure and treat everybody equally, whether it's positive or a negative comment. We're starting to get to the point though, where I can't quite I shouldn't just say it's me just doing it, but we can't quite keep up with all of it. So bear with us. We don't respond to you. We're trying our best. We'll make sure that, and definitely, obviously, your questions, we will make sure and get to all those questions, comment, feedback in regards for the show. We'll make sure that is happening as long as it's appropriate. We haven't gotten it yet, but so far all the questions and feedback have been fantastic. But definitely keep writing into the show. DoWeHaveTo.com is the best way to get in touch with us. There's a submit a question to the show link at the top right-hand section of the site. That'll just walk you through a quick little form. You can just fill in the information if you don't want to be, tagged as far as, we don't ever give away, obviously, full name or any personal information other than what you're willing to share. And if you want to remain anonymous, just throw anonymous in the first and last name. If you'd like me to say your first name, if you want to say your full name, we'll do it. But either way, it's a very easy form to fill out. And then if you need to, if for some reason you don't or refuse to do that, you can always shoot us a question or a direct message on any of our socials. We are on X, we are on TikTok, we're on Blue Sky, we're on Instagram, we're on Threads, we are on it all. And I'll give those to you specifically at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just talk about, I know the way I teed it up, it sounded like we were going to do we have to talk about it first, but how about if you're okay with it, why don't we kind of start with what's been going on the last month and a half, kind of since we've been on our hiatus from doing a show.
Like I first need to give you some kudos.
Kudos.
You, sir.
Thanks, bud.
You, doll, have taken the reins and have done everything around the house, your dad, the kids.
Oh, I don't know if Papa Ron would be saying this right now. Poor Papa Ron's been roughing it.
I doubt it.
That poor.
The dogs, like all of it, kids, sports, activities, school, all of it. Now, we have had a lot of help with, my parents.
Oh, yeah.
With school and
couldn't have done it without Gigi.
Sports and all that stuff too. But you have a household that has, 3 kids, 3 dogs. Like, you work full time. We do this spare time. It's a lot. And then you throw me out of the equation and needing to be taken care of a lot.
Drugged out of your mind.
I was not drugged.
Fucking codoned up. Go ahead.
It was on, I think, Valium.
Oxy and Valium. So you basically synthetic heroin and just hardcore anti-anxiety medicine. Continue.
But anyways, you've
flying.
handled it like a champ. You've taken every challenge and you've done great. You and the kids had a great little routine, and I'm back to fuck that up and go back to my way.
No, we're glad to have you.
But I just wanted you to know that I appreciated everything that you have done. And
were you saving this for the show? Because we haven't had this conversation.
Of course I was.
Look at you. All business. Go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I love you. I appreciate you. And you did a great job. And I could not have gotten this procedure done if I didn't have a partner like you. So I appreciate that.
Oh, well, yes, you would have done this. You would have done fantastic. I think it's kind of weird to me, and I really appreciate everything you say to it. Maybe it's just like men and women, at least in U.S. society. And I say U.S. society because we have so many people that watch the show outside of the U.S., but I don't know if it's like this in other countries or not, but it seems like just when a guy does something I feel like they're supposed to do, but it's not traditionally a male role. Because when you're healthy and you're up and moving, I mean, I'm working during the day, so I have a responsibility. That's why I'm not doing some of the things that you are always doing, which is doing a lot of the caretaking around the house, usually the logistics with the kids, all of those things. That's your responsibility. And not because it's like that's your assigned duty. It's just that's the way it's worked out, how it fucking works with you and I.
Right.
But like when a guy steps up and does what he's supposed to do when his wife's not there, or like changing diapers or doing, I relate it to being baby. People are like, oh, that's so majestic. That's amazing. I'm here to tell you, this is just my responsibility. This is my role as your husband and the father of our children. Like, I don't need to be thanked for doing any of this stuff. This is stuff that should be expected of me anytime that you're not at 100%. I just need to jump in and do these things. So I appreciate you saying it, but I don't accept it. Oh. I'm kidding. No, I really appreciate you saying that. I'm just saying, I just don't want to glorify like doing something I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? I really appreciate, hopefully I did a good job at it. I'm not saying that like, I appreciate you commending me on what a good job I did.
Our house is still standing.
That's right.
See, and again, still have 3
children.
Like
the bar's kind of low, right? We had the ship running just fine. All I had to do is just step in and steer and make sure we don't run into a fucking iceberg. That's it. Hard for the folks on the Titanic, but I think I handled it just fine.
Yeah. None of my plants died.
And I didn't water them.
No, you didn't.
I actually, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh my God, I forgot to water the plants.
Nope. As soon as I got cleared to lift.
You could tell they were just bone dry.
About, what was it, 10 pounds?
I didn't even think about the plants.
I got up from 5 to 10 pounds. I grabbed the pitchers and I started filling them all with water and watering every plant we've had. And thank goodness they're still all here and all alive.
I will tell you.
I love my houseplants.
I know. And I'm sorry about that. I didn't even think about that. I will tell you, I did have an epiphany, and I think I talked to you about this a little bit, but you've been fucking just coked out of your mind, basically. Okay. But there was one point, I think I was laying by you while you were taking a nap, and I was just, doing my normal drambling on while you're probably half paying attention. Mm-hmm. And I had mentioned, I was like, I think that if this happened more with married couples where one was just completely on the shelf, mm-hmm. meaning that like you really are responsible for kind of whatever your roles are, you're kind of taking on 100% of them. I don't think I think there'd be a new level of like understanding of each other that we all actually feel the exact same way. Doesn't matter what your role is. That soul crushing weight of not ever feeling good enough, or like you could always be doing more, or you're feeling less than. And I'm not saying I felt like this the whole time. I'm just saying like it is so similar to the responsibilities of being an earner. So I feel like somebody who's like when they say breadwinner, the person who's making the majority of the funds to do all the things, keep the house going and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I feel like that person and the partner, who then usually is typically doing all the other things that need to be taken care of, which is, the domestic parts of the house. And it doesn't have to be a man or a woman assigned to that, but that's kind of how they naturally split up, because you only have so many hours in a day. Right. You have to work fucking 8 hours a day at the least. Right. Right. And that's the majority of the time you're awake. So you're responsible for one section of things. Usually your partner's responsible for the other. And I feel like those two sides always feel like they feel completely differently. There's really no difference from feeling like, I got to make sure it works.
Sometimes I don't feel as valuable because I don't bring in income. And I think you feel a lot of pressure and a lot of stress because you are the only one that brings in income.
Well, it's not even just that. It's just the feelings are the exact same of no matter what I'm doing. I feel like there's probably somewhere I could have done it better. I'm failing in a certain area. It is the same exact thing. So like if you're a breadwinner and you're like, oh, my wife or my husband, they don't understand the responsibilities I have. They are doing these things, and I'm very there's people that are appreciative of it, but it's guys, it's the same fucking thing. We got to be better about coming together on this and sharing these things and processing through them, because it's not good for our mental health just to be kind of feeling like we're on separate sides and we just kind of have to take up the ship. Like it is the same exact thing. It's not any different. Being a breadwinner and being the person who's kind of running things around the house, it is the exact same thing. It's the exact same stress. It's the exact same, just different tasks that are associated with it, And I think sometimes we tend to separate ourselves or put up a wall in between the people that we care about most in this world, mm-hmm. thinking they don't understand that. I'll never make that mistake again, because now that I had 100% of like where you just weren't able to do anything. No,
I was completely
That's different. You know what I mean? Because even like when we've had our babies and stuff, like there's things you're doing with the babies. Like this is 100% where you just weren't in the picture.
No.
And I tell you what, and for any single parents out there that are doing this and they don't have any support at all, hats fucking off to you, because it was amazingly rewarding. But it was challenging for sure.
You did a great job.
I appreciate that. But that's a testament to you and how you've built our family and the type of house that the culture we've created as a married couple allowed us to get through this. I thought the kids did a great job. And I think a lot of that's really just the things that you've put into place already made it easy in certain aspects. But then I just thought about you so much during these times of like the simplicity of things that I take for granted, like just even getting the kids' lunches ready, forgetting to do that, or like it being like last minute, and then that affects us getting to school on time, or like not checking the kids' homework properly and one of them doesn't do well on the time. It is no different from fucking up in a meeting. It's no different from not getting a good rate. Like it is the same exact feelings. So like anybody can downplay those. It's the same fucking ball game. So I would say I learned anything from this, wives and husbands out there, or just individuals or anybody that's planning on engaging in a partnership, just because it's, what you perceive to be completely different tasks doesn't mean it doesn't have the same exact pressures and the same exact failures and frustrations and feelings of doubt. And that's where it's your job as a partner to kind of get over your own bullshit and try to really be empathetic in that regard, because your spouse or your partner is feeling the same fucking thing that you're feeling. Mm-hmm. And we need to come together and be as emotionally supportive as possible through those
Well, and I
things.
think it's also taking away the idea that marriage is 50-50. It is absolutely not 50-50. It is maybe some days it's like I'm still not 100%. I am getting there a little bit every day.
Even Emily, though, at 65 for this house is fantastic.
It could be like, it like 70-30. Like, I mean, it really could, like, I could
every
wake up
day
and
is
say,
that's
like,
the point.
I can
Every day
only
is
give you
different.
30% of me today because this is where I'm at in my life and my mental capacity right now, my physical, mental state. I'm only at 30%. I need you to bring the other 70.
Yeah.
And like, that's just going to have to be like, okay, we'll all pick it up. And then when I'm,
It's communication,
like,
right?
You know, like I need to be at 40, like
every day is different too. I think that's
like
the thing.
It's totally different. It's not 50-50. Everybody needs to get out of.
We can't be so rigid about.
Partnership is never split straight down the middle. It is always a staggered percentage. And I think it took us a really long time to get there, to understand that.
And obviously I'm still learning.
And like this was like a huge reminder of we have to help carry each other because none of this will work without both of us.
No, I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, you could. That's the thing.
It would just not be any fun.
But it's just no. It wouldn't. For me, it wouldn't be fun because I wouldn't have you. But it means it's okay that if that's what you're doing on your own, it's doable. But man, I tell you what, you are taking on just such an immense amount of pressure. I feel for the folks that do that, but I'm sure there's people that have done that on their own since they had their children or whenever they've done it and done it so successful.
Absolutely.
And have the most admiration and respect for those people.
Absolutely.
For sure. But yeah, I know it was a journey. So do you want to talk, like, I think it's important that people know kind of like whatever you're comfortable talking about. And I think you're generally comfortable talking about it, but I think it's good just to know what people are going through. I think it gives a good perspective because at some point or another, even if you're not with somebody in a relationship, that maybe your sister, your brother, your friend, whatever, they're going to go through these types of things. And I think it's important to kind of know what the experience has been like, what you're dealing with. And
it doesn't have to be like a medical thing. It could just be like a life
it's true
thing. Yeah. But I had a complete hysterectomy and a pannulectomy. So
Emily's ovaries are very difficult to deal with.
I've struggled pretty much my entire life with polycystic ovarian syndrome and endometriosis. And when I had Tegan, she was an emergency C-section.
Yep.
And part of that didn't go so well in the healing situation. And, I've had a lot of scar tissue issues built from that. And then we had Maeve, and she was also a scheduled C-section. So I had more scar tissue. But then as I've gotten older, I've had a lot of other issues that have happened. And there are tests that doctors can do to like figure out like your like genetic testing, I guess, like markers,
your pre-cancer markers, your pre-cancer cells that are in there. Yeah. And that was not great.
And so I came back a couple of years ago with some markers for
ovarian cancer, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they recommended back then to get a hysterectomy. And I was like, okay, but my doctor at the time was like, it's not a rush. Like, don't
feel like you have to do it.
You have to make a decision right now. And then about a year ago, she's like, we really need to do it within a year. I put it off another year. And then this last time,
it's scary to go to the doctor.
My markers got higher than they wanted them to be. And so it was
things were getting very concerning.
It was going from just like I was going to be able to keep my ovaries.
So we got to get it all
now
out.
I can't keep my ovaries. I can't keep anything. Like I have to have a complete and total hysterectomy. And I have to do it like now. I can't put it off another year. We need to get
Well,
it
and you were
scheduled
in
get
the
it done."
middle of a weight loss journey, which obviously that didn't complicate things, but it just added to the things that they were trying to do. Because I know you're, especially in our world.
Well, part of it, like I lost 165 pounds with the gastric bypass. So I wanted to have some skin removal because it was causing like issues, which is common for people that have had.
Yeah, don't get stressed out of that. I mean, like rashes, skin rubbing, hanging skin, that's a very normal thing.
Part of it. And so I went to a plastic surgeon who said, absolutely, we can do this, no problem. And then I was like, well, could I do both of those surgeries together? And they were like, yeah, actually, a lot of women that have hysterectomies end up having the panulectomy because, it just helps everything.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that. It was just happened to be common.
I was like, okay, well then let's go. So I found the plastic surgeon and the gynecologist. They worked together quite a bit and they got me on their schedule. I went in, I had my surgery, came home that same day, kind of had some issues, ended up back in the hospital for, I don't even know.
4 days.
4 days?
4 days, yeah. That's a crazy thing, right? And again, and try not to harp too much on our wonderful insurance situation here in this country, but I'm sure if you're keeping up on the LA fires and what State Farm did, and then of course all the things that's happened with United Healthcare, that was the stressful thing. And I think that's why people like Emily fucking put these things off, because it's like, well, this is going to cost so much. And if I'm going to do this other surgery, do I need to think about, that's how fucked our healthcare system is where you're having to compromise your own health to try to kind of fit into this privatized healthcare model. They're fucking soulless assholes. I'm sorry. I just listening. I'm kind of, it's funny. We as us as a couple, we're just moving through it and we're just getting through it. And then we jump right into taking care of the kids in the house once we get you back home. And I didn't even have time to sit. And as I'm listening to you say that, I just was getting super fired up because I'm like, that was so avoidable. And it's not the hospital.
Yeah. Well, no, because
the doctors and them, they did that, what do you call it? The consultation where they called the insurance company and said, hey, she's going to be doing these 2 surgeries. And they're like, well, they're not major surgeries. And both of them.
Well, they are major surgeries.
Well, both of them, if we were to do one, they would go home same day. If you do the other one, goes. So do both of them. She goes home the same day. And it's like, they could have just kept you one day.
Yeah.
And made sure everything was okay and made sure they would have been able to control your fever that you ended up getting and your pain. And instead you went home, had to suffer. And then what had happened? We had to stay in there for 4 days instead of 1. So you're the ones that are causing this fucking issue. And it's because you're greedy pieces of shit. And that's the reality. I'm not talking about the people that have to go and work an hourly wage there every day. So don't take it like that. No.
The
folks that are taking calls and running these things.
The nurses
but
and everybody
you guys
did great. They were all very
you guys that are responsible for this business strategy where you're going to fucking take away policies for people because fires are going to occur when they've been paying you to have their home protected from a fire if they lose it. For you people that are setting these strategies out for making sure that there's absolute consistent stock gain at the detriment of hurting other people like Emily and like the folks in LA, you're criminals. I mean, you're not, you're getting away with it. You're not breaking technically any laws, but you're criminals and you're bad people. And I don't feel bad for anything that happens. And I don't mean that like I don't want harm to come to you, but like if something happens because of the type of shit that you guys do, I just don't feel bad about it. And I had to watch my wife suffer for 2-3 days when it could have just been okay. You know what I mean? And there's people that are a lot more unlucky than we are. Mm-hmm. They could have done that. You could have gone home, tried to tough it out, and something really bad could have happened. And I'm just thankful that we went. But it is just something that this has to change. And I don't think we have the administration now that's going to do anything about that. But eventually we do have to change. And I'm always kind of curious what people outside of the country, because we do have a lot of folks in UK and Australia and Germany that listen to the show and those sorts of things. I'm curious what they think about it. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent there. But I'm glad that you're okay. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah.
I appreciate all the sentiments.
Now, I just want to clarify, I did not have cancer. Like
No.
like
You were just, you're at high risk for getting it if we didn't get that stuff out of there.
Precancerous cells.
Emily did not have cancer.
No,
yeah, sorry.
I don't need.
If I said it wrong, that's
no,
not what
I
was
just
saying.
want to clarify. Like I'm not like.
No, it's just a huge
trying to
risk. And I
gain
tell you what, I'm sure
anything.
anybody that knows anything, you just don't want to.
You don't want to. As a woman, there are so many things that I think because we do put everybody else first, we tend to take care of ourselves last. And so, it's like do your self breast exams, like go to the doctor every year, get your annual exam, like do those things because it could be the difference of, preventative care or reactive care. And like you getting your colonoscopy for your family history, like, it's just, there's important things that, unfortunately, medically, both of our families have a history of, and we just have to get them checked and get them, stayed on top of and go from there. And I'm
going to be hard on myself too. And I will say, if you want to learn something from this situation that I learned about myself, I'm not doing a good enough job making sure Emily is being supported and taking care of herself. Because, if it hadn't been for Emily I kind of realized that, as we got through this, I wasn't telling her she needed to go and get the septic. I mean, she was doing it. So in my mind, I'm like, well, she's doing what she needs to do, blah, 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 blah. But I never was, like really adamant about, hey, you need to go get this checked out. When I realized, when I talked to the doctor after she got a surgery, and she was like, well, everything, looked good, but there was a tumor. Now the tumor didn't end up being cancerous. But in my mind, I'm like, you fucking
and it
selfish.
was inside my ovary.
Yeah.
Not like a cyst on the outside. Like,
but my point is
it wasn't something that you could just easily see from the.
But had you done it early, you just said yourself, I waited. No, it wasn't like I was
I put
on
it off
top
for at least 2 years.
And was I pushing you to get it done? No. And so my point is that as soon as we found that out, all I could think of is you selfish fuck. No. All the times you're sitting there, no, just let me say this. All the times you're sitting there and you're fucking doing something for yourself, like could have had the conversation of like, hey, it's really important. It's great we're doing all these things. When was the last time you got this checked? When was the last time you got that checked? Or just being more mindful of your medical history. That's another job of mine that I'm going to be, I know I will do well at now, but I was not doing a good job at. And I think that's something we all take for granted in relationships. It's not something I typically hear us as couples when we're interacting with other couples talking about. Not that we need to, but I'm just saying, like, I just don't think that's on the forefront. Mm-hmm. And I do think that self-care, not only are you taking care of yourself, which I always adamantly talk about on this show all the time, but like then making sure your partner's taking care of themselves too. And just do the regular check. Go to the doctor every 6 months, go to the dentist every 6 months, and make sure you're pushing your partner to do the same thing, like in a respectful, positive way.
Yeah.
Don't be like me and it could have been something bad. You know what I mean? So learn if you're going to learn something from this situation, and that as far as being a support, like being a spouse to somebody that's going through this, you don't want to get a call from a doctor saying they found something and you knew that you could have helped get it found sooner.
Well, but I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. But
there's people, and the point of this show is to make sure people understand, learn from our mistakes as well as our successes. I make a lot more mistakes than I make successes. And I think that's why we are where we are as far as in a good spot. It's because we've said, okay, it's okay that we do those, but what are we doing with them? Are we learning from them? Or are we just doing the same thing? That's a huge one. And I think that's one that probably isn't talked about very much. I don't ever hear it discussed or anything like that. Typically it's not something, and it's just something that like made my heart drop when I took that call. And all I could think about, there's so many times I talked about useless things, and that could have been one. I could have taken one little thing out and put that in, and it would have potentially prevented some harm.
Yeah, but thankfully I'm good. I'm okay.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
You mentioned Australia, so I want to go like just random.
I think Emily and I. It started
this morning.
Well, can we real quick? It's funny that you were saying that, because I think Emily and I are going to start just a quick little segment. I don't even know if we want to do it to open every show, but man, I tell you what, we have some great listeners in Australia. We have to Australia? I almost think we're going to have to turn that into a quick little 5-minute segment many times as we brought up Australia. No. I'm talking about not going to Australia. Never. Although if you want us in Australia, down the road, we get more subscribers, get more listeners. You want us to do a show in Australia, we'll come. Don't worry. We'll go to Sydney. We'll stay in the city. But
the closest I'm getting,
we have
I
been
told
given
you this morning.
some really great stuff from Australia. And can you talk about the video you saw?
Sean took me to the doctor because I'm still in like the healing process. So we have to get cleared by the doctors for me to drive. I can't lift over like 10 pounds, I can't do strength training. I can't, the most cardio I can do is like a long, gentle walk. Like I'm still very much in a healing process. But anyways, we were on the way to the doctor this morning after we took the kids to school. And I threw my body into menopause, essentially,
from your hysterectomy surgery. Yep.
And I am just...
Yeah, can you... While we're talking about this, can you talk about what the symptoms have been?
But I'm not supposed to have some of the symptoms that I'm having. But like I'm having hot flashes and night sweats and insomnia and mood swings and
so much Gilmore Girls in the middle of the night.
So much Gilmore Girls, but I love Gilmore Girls.
I do. I like it.
It's really fun. And just my brain just will not at all. But anyways, last night I could not sleep. And so today I had an appointment to get a bunch of lab work done because they need to know why I'm having hot flashes and night sweats and hormone, like blah, 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 blah. And part of that it's going to be because of our gastric bypass. I don't absorb vitamins and minerals and things the way that a normal person does because I have a little
because we have the tiniest stomach.
Egg-sized pouch for a tummy.
Yep.
But anyways, long story short, we were on the way to the doctor and I could not find the article before we started recording. But at some point in the middle of the night between Gilmore Girls episodes, I read an article from either Daily Mail or Huffington Post, one of the two.
I think you told me it was Daily Mail because you told me about this earlier. Daily Mail.
And I said, I cannot fathom how this couple is okay with anything like that happened in their home. This couple in Australia discovered.
This is a regular thing, though, I think, in
Australia. But this is like
number to somebody in the U.S., it's going to sound fucking nuts.
Why I cannot go to Australia.
I'm sure they lived out in the bush or out in the country.
They very well could be in Sydney.
I guarantee it. No way.
And I don't know. No way. Anyway, but I'm like very certain that these people found this in their attic. They like came home, heard a bunch of stuff happening.
Yeah, they heard a bunch of rustling up in their attic. And why they didn't just, again, you're in Australia, you're used to these things, probably dealing with critters all the time, a little bit different from the U.S. Like if you hear something rattling up and then you're like, I've got raccoons or something, I'm calling an exterminator is what you're doing. Not an exterminator, whatever you call it. You call somebody to come and, help take care of the animals.
Called 911.
No. Go ahead. Just keep going.
Anyways, this couple discovered when they went up to their attic.
Yep.
Not one, but 102 snakes. And not just any snake.
Yep.
The article kept made it
I'm just
very
looking
clear
at your eyes while you're explaining this.
That they were red-bellied snakes.
We still need to look up
I do
poisonous,
need to look it up. I don't know if they're poisonous or not. But first of all, you have my home. Where do I sign the deed? Because
to the red-bellied snakes?
Yes. This is...
I think it's a simple call. You get them out. It's fine.
A simple call?
Is there one hanging out in an event somewhere? Possibly.
Oh, my God. How did they get there?
Emily, we found a snake in our Costco box, remember? Remember the snake that fell down in the basement? And that was just a little garden snake or rat king snake or whatever. They're not poisonous. They don't whatever.
The next time that happens, there will be a call to an insurance adjuster because this house will be burnt to the ground.
Sure.
I cannot. This couple, how did you not know that you had 102?
Well, they did once they started hearing. There were so many of them that they were making noise. I mean, who knows how long those things were up there just reproducing?
But how long does it take for a snake to make that many babies?
My concern is where were they getting food? Was there just mice? Again, they have to be out in the country. I guarantee it because they had to be out in the country.
I can't.
Australia is a one.
I need somebody from Australia that listens to the show to explain to me.
Yes, please.
How
right
this
into the
could
show.
happen.
Explain to us kind of what is the typical, if somebody from Australia, because I look at the statistics every week. We have lots of Australia listeners, a decent amount actually.
How are you alive?
15% of our audience is Australian.
How have you survived? Because I physically can't.
I would love to know though, what is the typical, because I think it's a stereotype. I don't think it is as extreme as Emily makes it out to be. If you could tell us what the general experience is like, I'll gladly read it on the show. And if you want any feedback on anything, absolutely. But I would love to know that, because I watched one of my favorite shows is Love on the Spectrum Australia.
Yes,
I think it is literally, if you want a shot of positivity in your body to start your day or end your day, fucking watch that show. They are the greatest people. And it's mostly shot like they're always meeting up in Sydney. It is fucking gorgeous. And I guarantee you, they're no different from being in a city here in Missouri or in the US. They're not dealing with those problems. But when you get out to the country, the land itself, there's some harsh environments. Typically that means whatever species are out there, that means they've had to survive not only other species, but in harsh conditions. That means they're harsh species.
I thought Alaska
there's just a lot of shit out there that could fuck you up.
Well, Alaska was hard.
Well, the weather and the environment can fuck you up, but so can that in Australia too, because you go, they have the desert out there, and they, like you fucking dry out in 2 seconds.
I would become extinct in Australia.
We're ready to go, Australia. You just let us know when you want. I'll do a live show in Sydney in a heartbeat. You let us know. Just a little pub in Sydney. You want to pay for our flight?
A pub?
Let's do it.
No.
Absolutely. They won't have any spiders or snakes in there. So.
I can't.
Anyway, yeah, somebody from the show, please write out to us. But yeah, if we actually regularly run into this, and I've actually had a couple folks from Australia post some things that follow the show that post stuff about happening in Australia, like those gigantic fucking super fast spiders you guys have. The more that we run across this stuff, we're going to start a regular segment. Just a quick little 5-minute start.
I do want to say that they finally rescued that one bear that was living under a house in California to save himself from the fires, the wildfires.
I didn't know that even happened.
I think his name was Victor.
Oh, nice.
Or something. Yeah.
Very nice.
I also saw that on the doom scrolling in the middle of
middle of the night.
Yeah. They finally rescued him. I'd been following his story though, because I do love bears.
Sure.
I don't know why.
No, it's fair enough. To bring it back though, to where we were, I think it's important for folks to know that even, I'm sure most females, when they're getting ready to go through menopause, or if they have to do something, they do research on it. But I will say, from a partner perspective, if you've never been around anybody that goes through it, there's not only a physical impact, but there's a mental health impact too on all of this stuff. And there's plenty of resources out there to help you, and vitamins and things of that nature. So if your partner's getting ready to go through this, I definitely implore you to do research. Try to do what you can do to be as supportive as possible, but then just make sure your partner's getting help when they can.
I don't think I did enough research on what to expect afterwards.
I think you thought you're a tough human. Like,
I did more research on the recovery process. Like
Emily's one of those people that I just deal with these things. I deal and I move forward, right? Until you run into something you can't do that with, right? And I think we're all guilty of that, but I'm not one of those tough it out type of people. I when I go through it, I go through it. But Emily is. And I think, my mom was like that, and, she toughed it out until she couldn't go to the bathroom. And then we found out she was riddled with cancer. Right. Yeah. Like there's downfalls to that too. So it's good to have a good tolerance of pain, but at the same time, you have to make sure you're taking care of yourself. And if you're a partner of somebody like that, it's very easy to be like, well, they know when they need to be taken care of, because they're very adamant about like, if they're good, they're good. We know when they're good. Don't do that. Don't be like me. Just make sure they're taking care of themselves. And then when they are going through something like this, do everything you can do to research that if there's anything that you can be supportive of while they're going through this, or at least be knowledgeable of, so you're not reacting to something that is part of the process and making them feel bad for it. Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not expect the mental toll that it had. I didn't also expect to be 38 and have to have. You and I are so different though too, whereas I feel like I knew we were done having kids because, after I had Maeve, they basically told me, well, technically after I had Tegan, they said it's really not a good idea, but we had Maeve, and then they were like, it's like, you cannot have any more children. It will be, life or death for either one of you or both of you. And
Yeah.
so we knew after Maeve that I was done having our children.
I don't think we could have another child after Maeve anyway.
No, I don't think so.
That little motherfucker.
She wouldn't allow it. She would have vetoed.
Can we just sidebar really quick about this morning in the bathroom?
Oh my gosh. It was the cutest thing. I was still laying in bed. Maeve
is the worst person ever to wake up. I hope
But
one day when she's
Sean's
older,
got
she
it, like,
watches this episode.
Figured it out.
But all I do, I don't tell her it's time to get up to go to school. All I
No.
do is I grab her hand and I gently lift her up to where
Yep.
she's standing up. And I say, oh, honey, you got to go to the bathroom. She goes to the bathroom, like no complaints about getting ready for school or anything. She gets up and she walks over to the bathroom. I don't know how we fucking found that nugget of knowledge to be able to do
Within
this.
this process, it all happened.
But it just
that way.
complete redirect her into going to the bathroom. And then she goes to the bathroom and then she comes out and she just starts getting ready for school. Don't
Yep.
say a word about school. So she goes over, I'm brushing my teeth. And she just stands over in Emily's side
She's
of
on her
the
little footstool.
bathroom and she's just brushing her hair,
Yep. And
which
I'm
is
just
not
like-
the most normal thing. Like most of the time we're helping her do stuff. She's just doing her own thing. She's getting ready to do her teeth. And she's just talking to me about how she's pretty sure because they number all the kids. She's pretty sure it's her number day to be able to hold the door open and lead the line and how much she likes that. And I was just eating it up because I was like, in my mind, I'm like, this is what I dreamed
just
about being a dad.
brushing her, nobody heard.
I just was loving every second of it. And then she wraps that up. And as she's brushing her, she turns, she looks at me and goes, you need to go get my calendar and tell me what specials are today.
Yeah.
So it immediately went from this beautiful, like just wonderful moment to, hey, secretary dad bitch, go figure out what my specials are for the day because I don't want to be surprised when I get to school and find out that I have PE when I was expecting to have art. Get the
Or
fuck on
library.
it. Exactly,
Yeah.
right? I need to know if I need to bring my fucking books or not today.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but that was awesome. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it really
Got
was
off
the
on a
cutest
tangent
thing.
here.
I just kind of sat in bed and just like watched their conversation, and it was just the cutest thing.
It's wonderful because 95% of the time she is a cutthroat bitch.
She's not. She is.
I'm just telling you, you're around
She is
Maeve,
really coming into her own.
sleep with one eye
and
open.
She crawled into bed with us last night, and I was like, "No, Maeve, honey, there's just I can't. Like, you got to go
Well, 'cause
back."
she
And
kicks. She's like, "Goddamn."
Okay.
It's like Ralph Macchio in The Karate
I was
Kid.
like,
She
"I'm
like
so
crane
sorry."
kicks
She
you in the
goes-
middle of the fucking night.
She goes, "It's okay. I love you." I was like, "I love you too."
Yeah, she's turning. She's just got the best. She's got all of our kids have great personalities.
Yeah.
She's just unique. She's just
All
a different.
three of our
She's a
kids
different
are
bird.
just totally different.
And I
children.
actually really like it.
Yeah.
Personally, but yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's what makes it so fun
Yeah.
and challenging.
Absolutely.
But yeah, mostly fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Anyways, sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
Sorry
drone
for the
on about our
sidebar.
children.
You mentioned Australia, and then I just couldn't like get that out of my head, so I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. And if anybody has any questions or feedback about menopause or those sorts of things going through, shoot them Emily's way too. We'll talk about them. And if anybody wants to know from a partner's perspective how that process is going, or if there's any resources that you're looking for or need support in, let us know. We'll be glad to help. And I think it's just one of those things, like you're going to be at a point in your life where maybe you've never dealt with mental health stuff before. That's not been a big struggle for you, as a child or growing up, as far as you personally. Not saying people you've dealt with. I'm saying like you having mental health issues, that has not necessarily been something you've always directly associated with yourself with. Whereas for me, from the time I was little, right, but you didn't even recognize it as that for a long time. And I'm saying like in your mind, when you think mental health struggles, that wasn't something for you felt like you've had all your life.
No.
Whereas I have, but now that you're having these physical changes, all of a sudden that's a part of it's becoming a part of your life. And I think it's really important that I'm supportive to you in that. And I'll make it about myself, and I make sure that you have what you need to feel as good as you possibly can be at all times. But then when you do feel bad, instead of falling into it, you're able to do proactive things with it.
Yeah.
So I love you. I'm glad everything's doing good.
Me too.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we have to talk about it? Yeah, go get checked. Absolutely. Just go get your fucking checkups. Like, just don't do something like, I tell you what, guys, and I can talk about this another time. We can talk about it in more detail. My mother was everything in our house. Everything ran because of her. She was just like Emily in that regard, in the sense that it does not work if she is not there. And one of those people that she didn't like going to the hospital, and she didn't like, you know what I mean? It stressed her out. It bothered her. And now being an adult and trying to navigate the health system, I understand why. And she waited until it was too late. And, we thought we got rid of the cancer, and then, we thought it got it cut out of her, and then it ended up going all over, and she was gone within 16 months. And our family was never the same after that. So don't I know it's hard, it's harsh to think about, but you got to think about these things in the healthiest way possible, because even if you don't have kids, even if you don't have a partner, you're important to somebody. And there's somebody that their day is better when you're around. Don't cheat them out of that because you're not taking care of yourself. Take care of yourself.
Right.
Get checked.
Yeah.
I love that.
Checked.
Get checked.
Well, I mean, I have
Do we have
issues.
to get checked?
I have health issues all over the place, but
you're always, we're trying, and we're trying to do everything proactively we can. And that's, if you do that, more than likely there's going to be success that comes out of it.
Well, and so much of it is tied together.
Yes.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyways.
But moving into, do we have to talk about it?
Yeah.
We can't have a do we have to talk about it unless we talk about Miss Kylie Willis.
Absolutely.
Real estate extraordinaire out of the wonderful city of Kansas City, Missouri. She is licensed in both Kansas and Missouri.
Yeah.
She is out of the Keller Williams Realty Partners. She is one of the top producing real estate agents. I didn't say the top, but she is one of the top, and there is a reason. She takes care of you. She's empathetic to understanding your needs. It's not a one-stop shop solution. It is a, hey, let me get to know you. Let me understand what your goals are, whether you're buying or selling a home. Mm-hmm. And let's turn that into what is the most optimal solution for you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, because I'm the expert, right? I'm the one who has the knowledge of the business. I've been doing this for years. I'm going to guide you on that process, but I'm going to mold it to what your goals are and what your needs are. Yeah. And I'm going to help see you through that, right? Mm-hmm. And she has not only helped us buy a home, but she's helped us sell a home. She's helped my dad sell a home. She's helped your parents buy a home. She has also helped my brother and sister buy a home, mm-hmm. right? And so we couldn't be any more involved in knowing how she works. And trust me, we would not be using her and recommending her if we did not fucking have that firsthand experience, especially with something as personal as selling a home.
Yeah.
She is getting ready actually to be launching her website probably in a week or two by now. She has somebody working on that right now. So eventually you'll be able to contact her directly at her website. You can go out to kellerwilliams.com to reach out to her. But my recommendation is, just because she does such a great job having a social media presence, is go to her Instagram. If you go to, is it at Kansas City Kylie?
Yeah.
At Kansas City Kylie on Instagram. You can reach out to her. And again, it's not just Kansas City. She sells in Kansas and Missouri. So she is a fantastic human being. She's one hell of a real estate agent. And she has always been.
I think that'll be the name of her website too.
It's
Kansas City.
Kansas City Kylie is, I believe, going to be, kansascitykylie.com, I think is going to be the domain. So be on the lookout for kansascitykylie.com. But in the meantime, you can reach out to her, follow her on Instagram. And not only is she, obviously it's a sales job, right? So she's trying to get business, but a lot of the times, a majority of the time, she's just providing information on the real estate market. And she does a really good job making it fun in her social media posts. She's fantastic. She follows the show as well. We make sure and provide. Matter of fact, one of our shorts that we did introducing Kylie on our social medias was one of the highest liked posts that we've done thus far. And there's a reason why. I mean, real estate is a really personal, important thing. And to have somebody that is genuinely on your side and genuinely a good human being is so huge, especially in an industry like that. Because at the end of the day, it's a sales job. And for most people, they just want to fucking get the sale. They want to get the commission. That's just not who Kylie is. But that's what's always gravitated towards me. We used one real estate agent before we used Kylie. And I was like very adamant, we don't use Kylie because you knew her. Because I was like, I'm done with this. We're going to go research it. We used a top-notch, supposed top seller for Reese and Nichols.
Yeah, but she hadn't started working in real estate.
Oh, I didn't know that at the time. But we used supposed top 3 Reese and Nichols real estate, who really, because we were just starting.
He recommended to us, but he was awful.
Because we were starting out doing a starter home. I think he felt it was below him, and he didn't put time or effort into it, kind of pressured us on the sale. And I think there's things we would have done differently. Not that we was upset with the house or anything, but it's really easy to be put in that situation. I think more real estate agents are that way than they are like Kylie. Kylie is a person who's actually going to, whether you're buying $1 million home or $150,000 home, you're going to get Kylie 100%.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
what's important.
She's the best.
She is. Thank you, Kylie, so much for being a sponsor of the show, and we will do you proud in this next Do We Have to Talk About It segment.
Yeah.
Lay it on us, Em.
We got
Get it,
a
Rosebud.
question from Anonymous. The message is...
Oh, it just says anonymous?
Yeah.
What did they put in the last name field?
They didn't.
They didn't put... Oh, normally it airs out. I always like the little clever last names people put in it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh. The message is, can you tell me if I married a crazy person? Because I'm starting to suspect that I have.
That's the subject line?
That's the subject line. And then it says, the following is written in pure sarcasm.
Oh, I haven't read this one and I don't like it already because can I say something? And I'm not trying to shit on this person by any means because maybe they don't know how to communicate this unless they're a way where they're kind of making it funny, which if that's what it is and you're uncomfortable, don't take this the wrong way. But I do think we have a tendency sometimes when we are trying to navigate waters that we perceive negative, we come out in this condescending, assholey way. And a lot of times that isn't necessarily the best way, I think, of communicating stuff like this.
Yeah.
So I will say serious stuff, but anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. It says, my wife and I have been together for 8 years, and today I realize that I have married the most perfect person alive. She has never been wrong, never made a mistake, nor ever needed to apologize for anything. I mean, I can't ask for anyone better.
This isn't fucking constructive at all. Go ahead.
Over the last 8 years, my wife has gone through the trouble of pointing out each and every one of my flaws on a daily basis. Sometimes I forget them, and then she reminds me and tells me that tells me at least 3 times in the past. In 2025, so this year, okay, I decided to exercise and get myself back into shape. My genius wife suggested I don't go to the gym immediately. Rather, I should start by doing body weight exercises at home until I am fit, and then see if I still want to go to the gym. This way, I don't waste money on a gym membership fee, and she won't have to increase my allowance. Well, I'm glad you...
Is that it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I want to, in the worst way, be as positive as possible.
You're not going to be.
Why? I'm going to try. Guys, I don't know how we're going to have a functioning fucking relationship if, when we present information about somebody, we're just going to 100% shit on the partner. Now, I'm not saying that there's not things that, obviously, if you're writing this, I get it. You want feedback and you feel slighted. But Jesus Christ, there's nothing about that message where I'm like, oh, this is a person that's really trying on their end to make a relationship be as best as it possibly can. It just sounds like a lot of fucking like, woe is me victim shit. And it sounds like there's things that your partner needs to work on, absolutely. But I guarantee you this partnership and relationship dynamic didn't get there without your fucking help.
Right. This is not a 50-50 relationship. This is
This is rough. And so this needs counseling. I mean, I can give you, you're not going to like some of the things I have to say about this. There's more than what Emily and I can do here for you, but I think there's places where we can help you start. One is stop blaming everything on your spouse.
Right.
That's for you, whoever you are, man, woman, whatever, or wife. Well, you could be a woman. Stop blaming everything on them.
Yep.
If you feel like you have no control in this relationship whatsoever, why the fuck are you giving that type of control away? Number one,
right.
There's nothing they can do to you. I mean, if you want to, you share a bank account, you want to go and get a membership, you could do that. So like you saying somebody won't let me, that's fucking bullshit cop out. That's the biggest fucking cop out I've heard so far since we've started this show. I don't like it. I'm going to be honest. Okay. I'm getting fired up. I understand.
But like do research. Okay, you don't have to go join like the most expensive gym in the world. You don't have to go.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's so easy to be like, oh, this person's awful. But it's like, okay, well, have you done these things before and then you just stop doing them?
Like that you really want to be involved in?
Well, I don't even want to focus on the health thing. This is so much bigger than that. This is basically my wife thinks she knows it all. She treats me like shit and I don't have any control over anything I do because she makes the money and this fucking person's crazy. That's such a bullshit thing to do.
You know, like figure out a way. If you want the gym membership, go to a place like the YMCA where it'll benefit her and the kids and everybody else.
Why are you so focused on the gym?
Well, I'm just saying, like, if he really wants to go to the gym,
You're just so focused on that last. This guy's like, this relationship sounds rough, and you're like, let me tell you how you guys can make this gym thing work.
We have home workout equipment, and we have a gym membership.
You're right. Let's navigate this gym problem first. Let's get the low hanging fruit out of the way. I like this. You okay?
I'm fine.
You sure?
Yeah. I feel like there are days where I want to work out at a gym, but then there's also days where I prefer to work out at home.
Sounds like if you're getting allowance, you could definitely get a Peloton bike. We recommend Peloton. We use Peloton.
I love
Peloton. They don't support the show, but
sure don't.
Tell you
if
what,
you ever want to
go
sponsor, I would love a tread.
That would be dope.
I've got the bike, I've got the rower.
Peloton, if you want, I'd love to do one of those outside runs. I'll walk somebody through a run. I'll yell at them while they run.
My God, could you imagine?
I tell you what, I did an outside run the other day with Peloton, and it actually was for the most part, it was pretty good. Sometimes I'm like, you guys aren't giving enough information, like where we're at with what we're doing or what the leg is or whatever. Yeah. But I did an hour and 15-minute run with Peloton. They only have a couple of those, but it was awesome. Mm-hmm. And I do think we need to, next episode, we'll share it on the episode because I don't have it in front of me. But I do want to, because I've had multiple people comment and reach out in regards to a couple episodes ago. I think we talked about like our weight loss journey, but I had mentioned running and stuff. I gotten some questions about that. And then I also got some people that were like, you aren't doing that. You aren't running 8 miles. You want to follow me on Peloton? Let's hook up. Actually, I will give my Peloton handle. We can join group together and let's do that. Classic. We'll put out on all of our socials. We'll put out our Peloton. You guys can challenge us or you can join in with us. It'll actually help keep me accountable too, knowing that
oh my God, we could
thousands of subscribers are out there watching. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to even update my name. I'll update it to, because it's Burr Cycle 1776 or something. I was in big Hamilton phase when we first got Peloton, so don't judge me. But I'll update that to reflect a name that coincides with the podcast. And then I'll make sure we share that and we'll share that on socials.
Emily and Casey.
And I think that's a great one.
I think
doesn't need to change.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. But with that being said, there's plenty of things you're right. You can do. So I went and honestly, when the relationship situation sounds this bad, the last thing you want to do is focus on these outlier types of things. The gym membership stuff will take care of itself when you actually deal with the real problem. The real problem is it sounds like there's no true communication of how you truly feel. Right. And you guys aren't coming to decisions together.
No.
You have two people that are coming together saying, I want it this way, I want it this way. And one, because there's a perceived power structure in place, they make the money. They're the ones calling the shots.
Right. But I still think, get back into shape,
don't let somebody stop you from doing self-care. Fuck that.
Figure out a way to
put that boundary up right away. Like, hey, let's talk through all this shit, but I'm doing the gym stuff. So whatever it's easiest for you to do it. And guess what? Even if you don't do it every single day, if they start, you throw up that boundary. Like,
absolutely.
But then continue working on it. You don't have all this leverage to be an asshole. The relationship dynamic is the way it is. You're responsible for that too. You've given that power away as well. But you can take it back.
Get it back, yeah.
And you do that in a healthy way as possible. As being a husband or a wife, you being the partner that you are, like you need to work on yourself. You need to go to counseling. Like some of this is perceived value of yourself, I think, definitely. Mm-hmm. You need to work through your own insecurities. And then you need to know you're good enough that the things you want are important too. And if this partner doesn't want that, ultimately, and if they're not willing to help work on themselves, it may be a time to walk away from that. And it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. But this sounds like it's not in a good spot. You guys do need to get to counseling. If they will refuse to go, then there may be more drastic measures need to be taken. But the best thing you can do, at least for yourself right now, don't be a fucking prick the way you wrote that message.
Yeah, no, that was kind of...
Don't be a fucking prick.
Don't.
Okay? Because that's not going to get you anywhere either.
No.
You treat somebody like shit, guess what? I tell my kids this all the time. Nobody is so much. Nobody likes an asshole. If you can fail at so many things. I say it. Don't try to hide behind. At least don't hide behind it for me. I cuss around my kids. I'm not a perfect person. Yes. I do. I cuss. That's just the way it is, right? But I do tell them nobody likes an asshole. Most people are going to be willing to help, especially teachers and people that are in a service-based profession want to help people. But I promise you, they're human beings at the end of the day, and if you mistreat them.
They're going to mistreat you.
They're not going, they might not mistreat you, but they're not going to go out of their way to help you in any type of way. And I was like, if you guys can learn that, you got half the battle down to dealing with life, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean you're a people pleaser. Like that's the balance, right? You can't just be jumping in willing to do whatever for anybody. You got to do right by you and you have to have healthy boundaries up. But you can't be a fucking prick to somebody and then expect them to help you in the way that you really, truly at the end of the day want to be helped.
Right.
So stop being a fucking prick, anonymous. Like, that's not the way you wrote that. Just honestly, I'm gonna be honest. What do the kids say today? Cringe. I fucking cringe the entire fucking time. Like, it wasn't funny. I didn't think it was funny, at least. And when you're talking about something serious like that, like, have a little bit more respect for the situation that you're in. If though, for some reason it was like a social discomfort for you, take it for what it is. I understand that.
Yeah.
Get some help. Get some counseling, especially individually. Start there first, because that's going to help you. Because obviously that's the thing too, is you need to start setting these boundaries. Try to put those in place. You need to work with somebody on setting them. And then you also need to work on somebody working through this resentment and frustration you have with your partner, because you're not going to be able to work through these things with them. Because my assumption is they're going to be resistant on this anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like you have the tools in place yet. And I say that from somebody who didn't have the tools and still doesn't 100% have the tools, that uses counseling. Like, you have to work through that, get yourself as best as possible first. Yeah.
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 All right. That was my only question for this week.
Oh, that's okay. That's right. I know we have a lot of questions, but I think, well, when we talked about it, you had mentioned this one may be long.
Yeah.
And, sure enough, you were absolutely right. Cause I was like, well, a lot of times we can talk through this stuff real bit. And most of the time I just throw out counseling. And I joke around about that. No, counseling's fucking important, guys. And
well,
again,
like in
I'm telling you,
like this year, I decided to do the rosary in a year. So like, I'm really taking a deep dive into the rosary. I do it when
self-help, just like, help yourself the best
like,
you can.
Doing something that you really want to do. Absolutely. Like, you're supporting me and taking the time to do that. You've supported me and taking the time to get this procedure done and like recover from it. And, like 2025, I think this is the year to like realize that self-help and it's not just about facials and
feeling good about where you are. And like it means putting in work. It means
like, yes, taking care of your health, taking care of your body, taking care of your spouse, taking care of everything else, like, and I really appreciate all of what you have done lately. And I think this couple could take
I do it over and over and over again, bud.
A suggestion of
well, here, let's
each other, not being sarcastic.
Anonymous, don't play any of this, but if you want your spouse, your partner to hear something, skip to, like an hour into the show now, skip, because they're going to use that as fuel against you if they hear me bitch about how the way you wrote that. So forgive me on that. Here's what I will say. There's 8 fucking billion people in this world. Okay. Somebody chose us and we chose them to be that one motherfucker to be there no matter what, to love them unconditionally, to take in everything that most people don't know about them and take it with stride and be understanding about it and create a life together that ultimately supplies happiness that takes you to death. Yep. Right? We, 1 out of 8 billion. 1 out of 8 billion. I don't think we really truly understand the responsibility that we take on by saying I do, or saying yes, or saying I'll be your boyfriend. Like, even if you're just in a relationship, if you're in a committed singular relationship, or even just a relationship in general where you're regularly seeing each other, you have a responsibility. Somebody has chosen to hitch their wagon to you in a way that 99.99% of the world's never going to have experience. It's a fucking responsibility. And until we start acting like it's a responsibility, until we start taking it seriously like it's a responsibility, we're never going to be good. We can be mid, but we're not going to be good. Yeah. And our partners, the people that rely on us, the people that put that trust in us to be that one, deserve that. Yeah. Whether you think they're being good or not at the time, we made that choice. They deserve that. And I'll tell you another thing. People deserve love or need love the most when they deserve it the least. Yeah. Okay. So just everybody remember that and take that into your relationships. If anybody can take anything into 2025 that I say, besides motherfucker, I would definitely say that. Yeah. What do you think, bud?
Sounds good.
That's absolutely right.
Speaking of good, our next episode is going to be one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah? What's that? You write the show now, so I'll be honest. I don't do a good job. Oh, that's right. We're on episode 8, aren't we? Coming up.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's every 4 we do the book, right? So what are we going to be? Well, I know what we're going to be discussing, but you want to let the audience know?
You have to finish it still.
I'm almost done.
We are going to review Beautiful Ugly,
Yep.
the book review for...
And I do have the book on our website, so dowehavето.com.
Yeah.
If you actually go to our Do We Have to Book Club section, it's a link up on the top, the book club section. It'll have a list there, and it has a link to Amazon. We don't make any money off it, but I want to make sure that if you want to get access to the book, the easiest way for us is always Amazon. We get it within a day or two. Also, we utilize Book of the Month Club. That's kind of what we do our kind of like book club date night with.
Yeah.
Now we've been doing other ways, like the book we're going to do next, which you'll bring up here shortly. You got from your aunt, so it's not like we use Book of the Month Club, but that's what we're going to be typically using to kind of randomize and do things. So we're not, one of us is kind of like monopolizing it.
Yeah. Well, but also during like my recovery part, I've had a lot of time to read. So I read a book called 19 Steps by Millie Bobby Brown. And I think it is...
It's one where you cried a lot, right? The
Oh
World War
my
II
gosh.
book.
It was
And it's so Millie Bobby Brown, if you guys don't know just by name, she's 11 in Stranger Things.
Okay.
She's also Kid Sherlock Holmes in those movies. She's a really good actress.
Okay.
And apparently a hell of a writer, huh?
She's a great author. This was, I think, her first and only book so far, but it's a World War II story, but it's a love story, and it is tragically beautiful, and it is so well written. I could blame it on drugs probably, but I loved reading it.
Do a post on it on all our socials so people can access it and put a link in to get the book.
I really enjoyed reading that.
Seemed to resonate with you quite a bit.
It did. And then the other book that I read that I've already given to my mom to read because I loved it so much was called The First Ladies. And it is a book by Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray. And they joined up together to write a book about the relationship between Eleanor Roosevelt and Mary Bethune, and their friendship and the...
Mary Bethune is the one who started Bethune-Cookman University, I assume? Okay.
Like with segregation, like how they had a relationship with all of that, and, you know, Roosevelt being president and, you know, running for president, and like the challenges that the Black community faced at that time, and the white community, and how they helped, you know, support each other, and became friends and became leaders within, you know, a world that they weren't supposed to ever be together. It was also beautifully written. I really, really enjoyed it. And then if you want to get a head start,
what do we got coming? What are we going to be doing in another
book?
month? So Beautiful Ugly is coming this next episode, and then what are we going to be doing?
I chose Let Them from Mel Robbins because
this is a self-help book, right? So this is different because we've been doing like fiction. So now this is going to be a nonfiction self-help book. Kind of,
yeah. I mean, yeah, but it's her Let Them theory book. But if you know Mel Robbins, then I love her. I think she has some really great tools to use. Like she has the high five theory. She has the countdown theory, like the count backwards, and then you just get out of bed, start your day, you high five yourself in the mirror. Like, I mean, she's just very, very positive, very, very uplifting. And then Let Them was her release for this year. So I I really, really wanted to read it. I've started it and I've loved everything I've read so far. So
I look forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a quick one.
Beautiful Ugly has been good so far. So I look forward to reviewing it with you on the thing. Yeah. So we'll be ready to come out with you with the next episode in regards to that. And guys, thank you again so much for listening. We're going to wrap up today's show. But I do want to make sure, again, reach out to us. Certainly that's why we have the website, dowehavето.com. Not only can you keep up on anything that's updated on the show, like our book club, as we start our new book, we'll put that out there. Make sure you guys have access to links where you can grab the book if you want to read it, and then, follow along with our review. We won't go do an in-depth review like we did the last book, which was Dark Matter. We kind of ran through the whole storyline, but that also had a TV show too. So there was some breakdown we wanted to do. This will be a traditional book review going forward.
At telling you every aspect of everything.
Yeah, I can't. But we'll, this will be more of a traditional book review going forward. So certainly bring your feedback on the book. We'll certainly let you know when we're getting ready to do that, but expect, we'll be doing episode 8. We'll be doing the Beautiful Ugly. Episode 12, be ready to be the Let Them theory, or let
and
them.
I already have the next book.
Okay, well, we're throwing a lot at the audience, so let's hold off on that. We can talk about it during the book club episode. But again, you can reach out to us, dowehavето.com. Again, you can submit a question to the show, provide feedback. Definitely give us feedback on your beautiful ugly. We'll read it on this coming up episode. Coffee recommendations, please try to keep it within the Midwest states area. We will drive. And then also, we're on social media. So Instagram, Threads, Facebook, we're at do.we.have.to. On X, we are at Do We Have To Pod. On TikTok, we are at Do We Have To Marriage Pod. At Blue Sky, we are Do We Have To Podcast.bsky.social. And again, everything we do is really run through YouTube for the most part. Of course, Buzzsprout hosts our podcast show, but YouTube, like, share, and subscribe our YouTube, Do We Have To Marriage Podcast on our YouTube channel. So again, guys, thank you again so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Be kind to yourselves. Remember, just be mindful. Try to be mindful. Be supportive of your partner.
Take care of each other.
Absolutely. And have a wonderful day.
Yep.
Love you, bud.
Wake up, I'm about to shake up every little thing, show you all that we can be. Come dance in my glow.